right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging and Friends. We're back tonight. We're playing more Otherscape, and we are continuing our Down in Arizona Bay campaign. And I have a question to start off, like a little banter question. I'm gonna throw it. I'll start with Jeremy, and then just go around. What's your favorite bread? Like, do you have a favorite kind of bread? It could be a style, flavor, form, brand, even. How do you want?
It's simple. I like sourdough bread. Sourdough bread. I like it. Especially if you can put a bowl, do the soup in a sourdough bowl.
Classic. Nothing wrong with the answer. Excellent answer. Melissa, favorite bread?
So I'm going to go seeded rye.
Look at her. You can see her eyes. She's looking at us. Okay.
I was thinking, because I almost went in a different direction that wasn't exactly answering the question, and I decided to actually answer the question for once.
Did you say seeded? Did you say seeded? You prefer? Okay, but hang on, time out. You don't like pulp in orange juice, but you like seeds in bread? This feels
like rye is probably the only one. Like I can do a multi-grain. Like it's allowable. That's okay. It's a thing in which something that's slightly crunchy can be in. Orange juice is not one of those things.
I mean, pulp is not crunchy though, so I don't know what orange juice you're drinking where the pulp is crunchy.
It's chewy. It's something chewy in a drink that's non-smoothie.
There's a lot of inconsistencies, I think, in what you're saying. Anyhow, I'm moving on. Adam, favorite bread.
Crunchy pulp sounds like Pulp Fiction.
True.
I don't really know because I haven't seriously had bread in decades.
Gotcha. When you were younger, did you ever get like Wonder Bread or white bread or anything like that? Were you that guy? Did you grow up on that?
No. I grew up with like whole grain bread, and then I do remember there was like a bakery downtown that had like cheese and garlic like baked in with it, and I really loved that. So if you're ever in Kansas City, look for Faveri. And
Faveri, you said? Okay.
Yeah, Faveri, and go there and buy some cheesy garlic bread.
Okay. My tray. Does Canada have bread?
We don't have bread, which is why it's so amazing when I can get an everything bagel, because we don't usually have bread.
Okay. So we go with everything bagel. That's a good
everything bagel.
Yeah. I almost said egg bagel was my favorite kind of bread.
Oh, that's a good one. But
I thought that wasn't answering the question, so I thought I would stick to the confines of bread.
We already had your answer. We talked to you. It was a lot of stuff. Like, why you got to steal my tray's time? Thank you for your answer, my tray. That was excellent, creative, outside the box thinking. I enjoyed it. Well done. Chuck.
Yeah. I like sandwiches, and my favorite bread for a sandwich is a potato bread.
Potato bread.
That's a really good
Excellent
one.
choice.
I tried to buy potato bread earlier today, but they were out.
That's a damn shame. You should have fought everyone at that store until they made you potato bread.
Well, it's because you were shopping for bread in Canada, and you just said
we don't have bread. That's probably it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Potato bread's a really good choice. I tried making potato bread a couple months ago. I screwed it up pretty bad. I ended up making potato biscuits. There's just no rising going on. It's still delicious, but it was like
I was going to say that still sounds really good though.
I haven't tried again, but I should. Okay, Joe, finish this off. Do young people eat bread? Like, do you understand what bread
is? Well, it's on my plate. I guess I will.
All right.
Okay. I was going to say sourdough, but to say something else, I really like good like pretzel bread, like a pretzel bun for like a burger.
That's awesome.
That's a great choice, and it is definitely the type of choice a young person would say. Because when you get older, trying to eat a pretzel bun, like it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah. It does things to you. And so, there you go. Enjoy it while it lasts, Joe. Enjoy it while it lasts.
It's good.
Okay.
We're not at all jealous.
What about you, Jeff? What's your favorite bread?
My favorite kind of bread? I mean, there's a couple good answers here. I think we've heard some really good answers, but I'm kind of disappointed that no one said pumpernickel because pumpernickel's pretty badass. It's got a really cool name. So, yeah. I also really like the marble pumpernickel rye. Like that's a nice mix.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Stuff. Yeah. I also like a good black and white cookie, So anyhow. All right. Well, how much time did that take up? 6 minutes? Okay, we got to do an hour and 54 more, I think. Okay, let's go. Last time around, you all were out in the Badlands. You are trying to go help Mallory's friend Lucky. Mallory got a back channel message from their friend Lucky saying they basically got overrun inside of some sort of Demeter Corp, a black site facility, the ruins of one in the Badlands. They needed help, and they were locking themselves in some kind of cryo storage until you could arrive to save them from whatever was befalling them. Last time around, as you all have been traveling to the Badlands, you got kind of almost surrounded by a series of tornadoes, these spore storms. You kind of heard them called. You managed to outrun them and outmaneuver them, and eventually you found yourselves in a very odd place. You found some rows and rows of crops, like farming crops. You found this town called Greendale with 100 and something people in it, hidden deep in these wastes, like in the middle of what should be the worst part of the Badlands. You found you spoke to a few of them, including a woman by the name of Miriam, goes by Miri. She invited you all to come take communion at the diner. Vrana and Clover, you decided not to do that and said you brought your damaged van that got damaged in the sort of the travel through the Badlands to a mechanic named Simon down the road. And then the rest of you decided to go inside. And you learned that the townsfolk worship something they call the Grain Father. And that they essentially maintain some kind of level of isolation. They've had some run-ins with some marauders and dryads and stuff like that. And they try not to have too much connection with them, but occasionally they do. Miriam hadn't heard of anyone named Lucky when Mallory asked, coming through Greendale, but did mention that there was a Demeter Corp facility that was kind of built into a ridge east of town. The townsfolk offered you all bread, which Ivan ate and then later purged with fire somehow in his belly. Can't remember how that worked, but it worked. Verana and Clover, you spoke with the mechanic, but he freezed like mid-sentence at one point and then resumed talking a few moments later, unaware that he paused. Back in the diner, you all met briefly Brother Lysander, who apparently is some kind of sort of religious icon figure. And had very similar powers to Agaricus, and Agaricus got a hero's welcome. Everyone was very excited, and they referred to you as a prodigal son. So let's pick up there. We're back in Greendale. It is nighttime. I know some of you are kind of beaten up a little bit. Do we want to push into a downtime section? As at this point, this communion thing is starting to fade. People are lingering, talking. Some are eating, some are not. But others are kind of drifting off and going to different places in the town. Those of you who are out the street, Vrana, Mallory, and Ivan, you all, you can see people kind of retreating back and going to different places. Do we want to meet up first, or do you want to just shift into like a downtime session? What do we think?
I would vote for meeting up.
Yeah.
Like get the crew together.
Downtime.
Okay.
Get to the van.
All right. So we'll say you all walk down the street. It's not that far away. You can kind of meet up with each other. So we'll set a little scene outside of the van. Is everyone there? Is it Garricus? Did you linger? Did you stick with your crew?
I mean, they could peel him away if they want to, but he's probably really enjoying his time there.
Yeah, and everyone's
Rike
coming
is
up
in the
as they're
room with
leaving.
you and fairly insisted that you join them. So you do get peeled away.
Okay.
I'll see you again soon, Mary.
And she's like, if you need somewhere to stay, just let me know. We got plenty of rooms, plenty of spaces, plenty of beds. We'll find a place for everybody. You just let me know.
Okay. Place.
So it's nighttime. You can no longer see like the brown clouds that have been kind of gathering. Now it's just sort of dark overhead. There are people coming and going. It's not like an extremely busy street. Again, there's only 100 plus people here, but you do occasionally see one or two folks kind of walking past. Many of them will wave, and if they see a Garricus, they'll wave even with greater fervor, and they'll be very happy to see him. But otherwise, yeah, you guys are at your disposal. It's a very small, kind of quaint, old-fashioned downtown area, and you are standing in the front of this auto mechanic shop. There are garages for vehicles, but you haven't seen any other vehicles, just your own, and you all back together. What are we talking about? What are we doing?
Has anyone seen anyone freeze in the middle of talking? Because we did. That was kind of weird.
We did.
Was
just
what
froze
was
still.
they talking about?
I think it was after I told him that we saw some sort of weird root thing that tried to attack us, and he told us about some theory about all the Demeter sites being linked together with some root god, and then he kind of froze up.
No,
It was very
paused.
interesting information that he was telling us, but not sure why. But he didn't seem to recollect his freezing either, so it wasn't like an age thing or yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a data download. Because like
something like that.
I left the diner and then went to them at the garage. And by the time I got there, he'd already told them about stuff that I had just seen at the diner. And he was never at the diner. So like psychic.
So was it like TCP where he like paused for a little bit and then went on, or was it like UDP where he paused for a little bit and then skipped ahead a little bit once they got there?
TCP.
Okay. TCP.
Cool.
So how
they got to like check in with each other.
It was
amazing.
You seem very excited, Agaricus.
It was a little unsettling.
It was creepy as
like
shit,
me.
so I bailed.
I mean, I understand it's unusual for people to be able to, commune with nature, but somebody like me who doesn't really have anybody else like might find it, exciting.
I mean, how normal do we expect a town of people like Agaricus to be? Like,
you see
Rika's
Rika's face kind of like really soften and get like a little bit sad because one of the tags she has is kindred soul with Agaricus. So she fucking gets it. Like she gets how joyous Agaricus must be feeling right now. And it kind of breaks her heart that it's probably a bad thing. And so she's kind of tiptoeing around describing how the demeanor actually was.
Hey, fresh bread. I saved some for you.
Yeah, cool.
Maybe we
Thanks.
can eat the bread later.
Wait, what?
Maybe we can eat the bread later.
So who has eaten the bread?
No,
and
I
who
don't.
has not eaten the bread?
I did.
I ate some bread, but I burnt it out.
Did you tell us that you burnt it out?
I'll tell you now that I burnt it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Can
ate some.
See some of the bread and then try and look at it, analyze it, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. What do you when you're just looking at it, honestly, it just looks like bread. And then honestly, in some ways, it probably looks better than the type of bread that you all are used to, which is all, kind of fake and composite stuff. Like this seems like freshly baked, fresh ingredients, natural ingredients to some degree, like the ones that you get when you're in the stacks or anywhere else in the city. It's like it's all kind of manufactured and kind of like pharmacology, is sort of wizardry is kind of creating it. So to some degree, this is probably the freshest bread you've ever seen in your life, Clover.
That is true.
It was very tasty.
It was good.
Do you think maybe we should just leave and if we want to come back later, we know where this place is. So
I want to like hold it and just kind of wave it next to Agaricus. Just
what are you doing?
Making bread.
I'm not going to take it from you. It's yours.
Yeah, I'm
We're
worried
just
about
testing something.
I'm worried about Lucky. So
well,
I kind of want to get.
Why don't we get? I'm just I don't know if we stay here longer, if it'll be easier for us to leave later. Because I think
very pleasant, but I mean, some of you are hurt pretty badly. If we don't stay for a while, I'm worried. might
This
not
is
make
an
it.
oasis in a otherwise highly inhospitable place. And I have to say, I am always suspicious of happy people. You haven't clearly lived enough, or you're faking it. But this is unique. And maybe we just don't have the frame of reference for what this life must be like.
I'm going to
Yeah.
eat the bread.
It's delicious. Absolutely delicious. It fills your belly. You feel good. Has no negative effects at all that you can discern. You don't get sick from it. Just beautiful, wonderful, fluffy, and lovely.
I like it. I'm in a lot of pain. I have shredded too. So if we could do some healing, that'd be great.
Also shredded too. So okay. I would think even if in the morning we have to fight our way out, I might prefer a night here than a night out there, because we went from one bad thing to another bad thing. And if there is some truth to this route throughout the Badlands story, we'll need all of our energy, I think.
Do I still
Garricus, maybe you could help us get a place to stay for the night?
Well, I think I could manage that. I know a nice young lady here.
Okay.
I may just
Is that
go
okay?
see myself off and
I'll come with you.
You can if you want to, okay?
I would like to, yes.
Agaricus, just because I've read a few too many things, you didn't happen to meet like the daughter of the leader of this place or something, did you?
Oh no, but I met Brother Lysander, and he can. Have I introduced you to Little Bit yet? Little Bit, say hello.
Little Bit pops up, just looking around, and then Little Bit's very happy too, because Little Bit got to meet like another friend, right? Because Brother Lysander was able to create one too, a little bit bigger. Like you can tell he's got the same powers as you, but maybe he's not so much how he's more controlled than you, or maybe he's just had more practice. Maybe he's a little older, that kind of deal. Like this is something that you might eventually attain, like that kind of the extremes of his powers. But yeah, and so you can see Little Bit's out, and he's also very happy to be here. Around.
And Brother Lysander, he made a dog, just like I made a Little Bit here. They played together.
Dog, you say? And Verona will sort of look to Ivan. Dog?
Yes.
I think that was after I left.
Didn't they say there were a few dogs in town, though?
They did. And they gave...
You think Brother Lysander had made those dogs?
I don't know.
Have you seen any dogs?
No, but the one dude, the mechanic, did tell me where some of those dogs are. We could go look if we really wanted to, but...
Well, why don't we go get a place to stay tonight first, I guess? Why don't you and I do that, since Rana and Clover really need to take load off.
Okay. There's no reason to sort of belabor it. Like you guys head back to the diner. You can see much smaller crowd. Lysander's there and Miri's there. And when you express the desire to stay and that you want somewhere to stay, they're more than happy to provide you with some lodgings.
For the night. Stay for the night.
I don't think there was any confusion. Yeah. Yeah, they're very happy. Like there's plenty of places that they could plenty of families, plenty of people here. Like they're happy to give over attics or basements or spare bedrooms and things like that. So there's no like motel or anything.
Really hope she's wrong.
I have it might sound like a bizarre request, but normally I always appreciate sleeping on a bed, but I typically prefer actually kind of being a bit more outdoors. Is it possibly okay to rest in the fields?
You see Brother Lysander gets a big smile, like you've just said the right thing. And he's just, well, of course, Agaricus, I would expect I'd expect nothing less from a prodigal son with powers such as yours. You'll be closer to the Grainfather out there, and perhaps will be gifted, well, a vision or at the very least, his warmth and his presence. Of course you can, and it is quite safe out there. If you hear barking, that is just Goldie. It's a sweetheart, something of a, you might call a mascot for the town. Just give her a nice little pet, and she'll be on her way.
That's lovely.
Is Goldie like the leopard you made before?
What do you mean? And like you can see, like he's still got the Labrador he made is still in here, and like they're just like slopping up water and stuff here and there on the ground and everything.
Was Goldie one of your creations?
I did not create Goldie, no.
Okay.
Would there be a problem if I did?
No, just curious.
Okay. And you can see that everyone that you're speaking with, whether it's Mary or whether it's Lysander, are definitely picking up on your suspicions and are definitely displeased with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But nonetheless,
I'm going to help my friends get settled. Would it be too much for me can I hug you before I go? This is just all so new and fun.
And you can see like they're all both quite happy to oblige whoever it is that you're speaking to specifically.
They're hugging me, Rika. Look at this.
And yeah, and like you're able to go around the town. You meet a couple different people. One of them probably the mechanic guy, Simon. So a few of you are in the attic in one family, and right across the street, a few of you are in like, a spare bedroom of another family. And that's kind of what it is. It's not like you don't have any hotel lodging. It's just you're crashing with people in their homes. And the homes, much like everything else you've seen, are very quaint. It's not like they're without tech. Like you definitely see like many of the same furnishings that you would see in your own places, except all of it is kind of blended in somewhat seamlessly with this like rustic aesthetic. So whether it's whether it's automated machines and kitchens and things like that, but it's sort of designed or at least, paneled in such a way to make it, blend in. And then Agaricus, you go out into the fields?
Oh, totally. Of course.
You wander out into the fields. You hear the sounds of like bugs here and there, the distant sound of a bark or a howl, wind, kind of very gentle breeze, and the flapping of some of the stalks. And yeah, it's a very peaceful night. You tell me, do we want to move into sort of like you guys can do a downtime? Like you guys have been at this for a good 10, 12 hours. You've gotten shot at, stabbed, blown up, your van's in shambles. You guys, some of you are in some hurt. So if you want to if we want to shift into like a little downtime moment, we can do that. Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
All
that'd
right.
be great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So, first question, I think Mal, Agaricus, and Clover were the three that ate bread, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of you give yourselves the story tag enriched.
Ooh.
Yay.
Dang.
Okay. Vrana, Ivan, and Rika, give yourselves the story tag rejected hospitality.
Oh my.
It's just a tag, not a stat. It's just a tag. Okay. All right. So let's go around. Agaricus. So why don't you? So we can go through both mechanically what you're doing, but also kind of flavoring what your night is like, what your morning is like, that kind of thing. So again, downtime, you get one of two options. You either get three power that you can just spend on effects without having to roll, or you can tick an upgrade box on one of your themes. What do you think you're going to do?
I feel like the thing that I really have to do, it's only appropriate to lean into that full overgrowth exposure thing where my calling is to commune with nature.
Sure.
And so as he lays in the field, he meditates. And before the mission started, there was that really awkward thing where like the plant life from the Badlands was kind of rejecting him and calling him an outsider. And maybe that kind of played into why it feels so nice to be accepted now. Because initially, like, he thought this was going to be a homecoming. The plants told him, go away, you suck. But now that he's here, he's like, no, I don't suck. I'm gonna really settle in.
And I'll say, and as you kind of experiment that throughout the night and the morning, and even probably as you like rest or meditate or however it is you describe Agaricus's downtime, Like you're not getting any of the type of rejection that you faced in other places within the Badlands. In fact, there is nothing but this sort of loving embrace, this like welcoming back. Like it's not like it's communicated to you in the words that you were hearing in the diner from people, but like you can feel the warmth and the feeling. And throughout the night, you definitely feel as though there is a powerful presence that's kind of watching over you and is doing so in a way that is very proud of what they're seeing. Like you can just, you just like, there's this warmth in your chest and like whatever is shining down on you, metaphorically speaking, is very, very happy that you're here and very happy that you have immersed yourself in this crop field.
Yay!
Okay. Excellent. Wonderful. Verana. So same question to you. If you want to, so there's probably two groups of people, I would say, other than Agaricus. Agaricus is in the fields. But otherwise, like if you guys are looking for beds, there's probably two groups. We can split it up however you want. Doesn't matter. But Verana, what would you say you are going to choose? Are you going to try to patch up some stuff with power, or are you going to, prep and practice and do an upgrade tick?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to go the power route. Okay. So, because I am currently shredded 2. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I would like to address if possible.
Absolutely. So you get 3 power. You can buy down a status. So 1 power per tier. And then you'll still have 1 left to play with if there's anything more you want to do.
So what I probably want to do, and so I'm sort of thinking of this in kind of tasks, and so you can kind of see like what all would be reasonable. So I'll definitely go down at least a shredded 1, if not beyond that. Okay. I also want to, so I do have the within Esoterica, I have the lengthy ritual. So I have to do that. And since she tried to use her kind of corpse animation earlier and that blew up in her face, literally, she would need to spend some time in that ritual, trying to, kind of go back through her occult tomes and, kind of her culty stuff to try to get herself back on the right side of the land of the dead if she were to need them again in the future.
So are you buying back a power, or are you just kind of like narratively flavoring?
It's narratively just taking time. So, kind of like just knowing that may limit kind of how much of this power I can spend during the downtime, because I've got to
if you would like,
make the offerings.
So one of the things you can do with power is you can spend a power to use the discover effect, which is essentially to get information. So as you're going through this lengthy ritual, if you wanted to spend a point, like I could maybe give you something that you notice or experience while going through this ritual.
I would love that. And I do also have my somber markings. I did kind of bring that with me as kind of one of the tags. So if I have my somber markings on while I'm doing this ritual, that can potentially kind of give me information from the land of the dead as well.
So spend the PowerPoint. So that means you're down to 1 left to play with. And maybe would you say, did you take a basement or did you take an attic? What do you think?
Basement, of course.
Okay. That's what I figured. You, as you are like there going through whatever ritual it is, going through what went wrong, you definitely feel that there is a abundance of souls or the residue of the dead in the area. Like you can feel it through the walls. You can feel it kind of pulling at you. Again, not voices or anything. It's far simpler than that. It's just whenever you kind of reach out and try to sense life force, for instance, like you're able to just get various pings. This case, it's more sense potential that you could somehow activate. It's not in any one particular way, one particular place. It's just sort of all encompassing this, and you're not even sure exactly the form that it's taking, but you can definitely tell that there is a significant presence of the dead somewhere around. Whether it's not in the house with you, it's not like in the walls, but somewhere out there in the earth, in the soil, that kind of thing.
Okay, that is definitely interesting. Thank you for that.
You have one more power. If there's something you wanted to put that towards.
I am considering what to do with the third one. I had kind of the two for sure that I wanted to do. I might bank.
We'll just downgrade your shredded.
I'll do that. So I'll be clean with my shredded.
Yeah. And so otherwise you're going to be taking a -1 penalty on some rolls because of shredded. So if you could just get rid of it now, it'll save you some trouble later. Okay. Excellent.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mallory, what have you been doing to get ready for the night? And then early in the morning, we'll say as well. Either one of those.
Yeah, Mallory's mind is pretty far, like, out there, and like his mind is elsewhere. He's thinking about kind of like
Lucky,
what's going on with Lucky, and so he's also really curious about like how this place exists, because he's not like, this was everything that he was fighting for when he was with Lucky and that crew, and so it's just like, this somehow doesn't feel right, like he thought it would be, like to restore nature, and so he's gonna be like, he's not trying to like get to the bottom of anything. He's just really curious. He's like, hey, so is there like a source of water around here? Is there like a well? Like, do you need help carrying like water to the fields or something like that? Like he's just wanting to like, he's wanting to make sure that he doesn't overstay his welcome and that he like contributes a little bit.
Okay.
Because he's like kind of having a bit of an existential moment.
Okay. So are we saying that you're trying to do like the discover effect, or are you taking power and then like actually buying details?
No, I'm wanting to upgrade my troubled past.
Okay.
Or put a tick in my
Yeah, if that's the case, then I don't think I think essentially you should be like sort of flavoring how are you like using that in the moment to kind of like train it up or make it deeper. In terms of like details about the town and about the people, those are things that you would probably need to burn the power for, like Vrana did. So when you ask certain things like water, like people will walk you over to a faucet and they'll turn a faucet on and water will come out, and they'll kind of look at you like you're silly for even asking the question. And like, and then when they, ask about help, they'll look at you and they'll point outside like it's almost midnight. No one's doing chores now. And so again, they'll kind of look at you like you're a little silly, but you could tell they're not doing it in a mean way. They're just like, you silly man, you seem to be you should be having trouble because you're concussed, I think, still, right? Like, aren't you still?
Yeah, I'm concussed
like
one. Yeah.
So there's a lot of that going on, but you can tell that they are. It's not like they're avoiding answering the questions. But they're answering questions in a very succinct way, and it's logical. Like, yeah, like water's there, and no one's doing chores at midnight. That's silly. But they don't give you a whole lot more.
Yeah. So there's no body of water nearby.
Well, they mentioned that there are, like they get water. So, and that's kind of all they say. But they're not going to give you that information, Adam. So if you need to like sort of invest to be able to get them to give you anything a little bit more. Because when you start asking about that, they're going to get a little suspicious. And they're like, well, certain things we don't share because we've had incidents with marauders and dryads coming and fighting over some of our resources. And so while you came with Agaricus, and we're quite happy that you brought him to us, until we're given better guidance from the Grainfather and Brother Lysander as to whether you can be trusted, certain information we're going to keep to ourselves. And so they, kind of give you a little bit of a polite decline to answer additional information.
Yeah, fair enough. So he's going to walk to the field where Agaricus is.
Okay. At a certain point, you get out there, sure.
Yeah. So he goes and he's like, so this is everything that like me and Lucky were fighting for. I don't know, like, it doesn't feel like I thought it would, though.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I really knew what I was looking for, but I have to say I've felt very wrong for a long time, and so it's nice to feel right, even if it's not really what I expected. And I don't think really we live in a world where anything's ever going to be completely what you want. So, it's pretty great, right? And so you should enjoy it. You deserve it. You fought hard for it, and you know, why don't we just stare up at the stars together and what was Lucky's favorite thing? What would he have liked about a place like this?
Lucky really liked peppers. Like he likes spicy food a lot. Yeah.
I say we both eat. I will grow spicier and spicier peppers. We'll go to our limits in honor of Lucky.
Yeah, I'm not very good at that, but see, let's just say enjoy the moment, huh? And so he like lays down prostrate in the field and like looks up at the stars, and he like kind of closes his eyes for a little bit, and then like this vision comes rushing into his head of like Lucky yelling into his earpiece while he's down below in the ocean saying, "You got to get out of there, like now, but take your time. You can't come up quick." And I was like, I've almost got it done. And like we're arguing back and forth, and I took too long when I was down there. And so then like I open my eyes and I see the stars, and Agaricus is like shoving a pepper in my face or something like that. And then like I come back to it, and then like I close my eyes again, and then like the sound of like bubbles and my voice screaming into a plastic mask and like underwater muffling, and you hear the sound of bubbles increase as my skin starts tearing apart from the bends, and like what surfaces at the top is just basically a skeleton and all of these fibers and blood, and it starts to like pool back together as my origin story is revealed, and
Yeah,
I take the tick into Troubled Pass.
that's amazing. That was a great story.
Nice.
I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we fade out of Agaricus and Mallory and their bonding sesh out in the middle of the fields past midnight. The clouds are fairly thick, but they move enough that you're able to see the stars that you want to see from time to time. Rika, what do we think you're going to be doing this evening and maybe even into the morning?
I'm gonna take the 3 power for the downtime. The first power, maybe the first 2. I'd like. I'm really worried about it, I guess, and I'd like to get a copy of their holy book or any kind of scripture they have that details what it means to be a prodigal son and what they do to prodigal sons. And I'm really hoping it's just worship and bread, but I have a sinking feeling there's more to it than that. So I'm looking to be proven wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I do feel like there's a lot of like player paranoia that is like feeding play like character paranoia, which is really interesting.
Maybe.
So 2 points of power. You're not going to find like written scriptures, but maybe you're a host. I feel like you are wandering about, like, if you're having trouble sleeping, I can just warm you up a nice little bit of milk, and then maybe you ask her. And as you're like sitting there at like some like old fashioned like country kitchen table, like super like, middle of Kansas Superman story kind of deal. Like you're just sitting there. And
this is not Miriam. This is someone else.
I don't think Miriam would allow you in her home. You were very rude to her.
Just double checking.
So she basically says to you, she's like, well, the Grainfather's word is it's a doctrine of growth, of harvest, and of of rebirth. The Badlands is a territory that has suffered great calamity, much death, and here as a kernel, a seed, if you will, to start that rebirth, we form Greendale. Greenfather emphasizes a harmony between flesh and soil, and we believe that followers and all believers eventually return to the land. We bury our dead, for instance, and we do so more metaphorically than anything, but it's so that new abundance can then grow and flourish. And outsiders like yourselves are, of course, welcome as long as you respect the balance. But wastefulness and greed and selfishness are grievous sins, in fact, which is why we've had, like I said, some troubles with various marauders and such. The Dryads themselves have different beliefs, but are by and large peaceful people. There are certain practices that we undertake, the sharing of bread and meal with those who come into our home. And this is where she kind of looks at you. And refusing a meal is considered a grave insult. In fact, if you're looking to atone, you can make an offering of food or labor that could prove your devotion. It is not the time of year, but you could come back later in the fall, where we have our golden yield, and that's where we celebrate through some sort of seasonal ritual. Renewal, the details of which are of course privy to those who practice, but Brother Lysander is our steward. He interprets the Greenfather's will through various visions and omens, and ultimately our scriptures are just oneness with nature, perfection of the harvest, and understanding that life is a cycle and we all wither before we are made whole again. As for the prodigal son, well, that's just a bit of fun we have in the early days of our formation. There were other attempts elsewhere to try to create larger communities, other communities, and sadly, they were lost to the savagery of some of the marauders, and many of our brethren were severed from us. And sometimes they return. It might be the Greenfather's will, perhaps, calling them home. Could be simple fate, or just chance. But when they return, it is a joyous occasion. They are quite wonderful people. Brother Lysander himself was in one such occasion. That must have been 12 years ago, maybe at this point. He himself was a prodigal son. He was not originally here, though his story is such that he was born of Greendale, but during a mission, he was made separate from Greendale, but he has returned, and he has led us, and he has delivered us the voice of the Greenfather. And she's all very happy and sipping, and we are just so grateful to have a Garricus among us, another chosen with powers that far exceed those of even our most capable. He is truly blessed. You are fortunate to call him friend, and for he to call you such.
Thank you. Yes, Garrus is, without question, a wonderful, wonderful person.
He is. Mary is quite taken with him.
It's as anyone ought to be.
He's a man of joy. You can just see it in him. He looks at the world through eyes that see joy first and not suspicion.
I feel like I recognize that I might be coming across as suspicious. And it is less about distrusting all of you and more that you have only known Agaricus for a few hours and you see how wonderful he is. I've known him for a very long time and I just want to make sure that he is protected and kept safe in the same way you are worrying about him.
So you're saying that your rejection of our hospitality was merely to protect Agaricus. The besmirching of our community was merely to protect Agaricus. I understand.
I am glad that you are speaking to me. I feel like I'm being proven wrong, and that is all I had hoped for.
Well, you are welcome in my home, and you're welcome to rest, and we are quite pleased to have new folks here, even if some of those are proving a little bit more difficult and less accepting as others. But there's still time for you.
Thank you. I do have a question about Brother Lysander, though.
Of course.
Is there anything he provides apart from spiritual guidance?
Are you spending your last point of power?
I am.
Okay. Brother Lysander is the most adept among us at interpreting the will of the Grainfather. When the Grainfather passes us messages, when he conveys to us the will that he would like to see done, it is Brother Lysander who is most adept with deciphering those messages. There are others. He is not alone in it. There are others, but Brother Lysander is...
He speaks... I'm sorry to interrupt. He speaks directly to the Grandfather.
Yes, well, all of us do in some ways, but...
All of you do.
Well, more it's the Grandfather speaks to us. And sometimes it is difficult for us to decipher every meaning of the messages. The Grandfather has a plan to rejuvenate all of the Badlands so that Greendale is just the first step of many. And soon the verdance that you see here will be spread across the dead lands that you have traveled across to bring Agaricus home. And it is through Brother Lysander that we might be more capable of following through on the Grandfather's will.
I see. Was the Grandfather able to be understood before Brother Lysander was here 12 years ago? Did somebody else help you interpret his
communication comes to us like dreams, and dreams are filled with wonder, but are often erratic and chaotic and disconnected and uncertain, and not everyone is capable of taking the image and deciphering it. And prior to Brother Lysander being here, we would do it, yes, otherwise Greendale wouldn't be standing. It took longer, is all. Brother Lysander is able to accelerate the will being spread.
And has the Grandfather's purpose for all of you changed?
No.
Or
no?
Does it remain the same as it ever was for growth and renewal?
We tend the fields. We maintain harmony. We welcome those who would be willing to be welcomed. And those who would not, we say, farewell to you. We mean you no harm. And that has not changed.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
And thank you for this milk. It will and the talk. I'm sure we'll be able to sleep tonight.
Of course. You have wonderful dreams. So we'll move over. We'll check in with Ivan. Ivan, what are you setting on fire? What are you doing?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm gonna spend the downtime to get myself an improvement point in my fiery goodness. So you said there was a basement that we could
so there's a
in,
basement.
right?
So you can be down with Verona. Yeah, you and Verona can take the basement. Yeah.
And like this basement has like one of them old school, like giant, like cast iron furnaces.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna be communing with fire, and by that I mean I'm gonna get an old cardboard box out of the corner of the basement, empty it out, hop in it, dump my backpack full of iron filings, and just spend the next 4 or 5 hours just staring at the fire, becoming one, thinking about it real hard and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as Ivan is manifesting fire, sort of, and channeling and communing with it, and Verona is communing with the souls of the presence of the dead. This is a very interesting basement situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're facing opposite directions, so we're like giving each other privacy to do what we do.
But at the same time, it's very cold in here, Ivan, because Verona brings in the cold, Ivan brings in the heat. Just balancing out. It's like a perfect 72 or something.
Lots of humidity.
The house knows no different.
Man, it'd be great to sleep in the center.
Right.
In the middle. Don't go to the edges. Those are the extremes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. So you train up, and you get your upgrade tick. Are you anywhere close to?
Yeah, that's my third one.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't forget that once you hit it, you automatically get it. So when you
certainly hope so. Yes. I've already added it to my sheet.
You did? Okay, perfect. Do you want to tell us what you took?
From the elemental body, I took Wall of Fire.
Oh. So a new tag.
Ooh.
New tag.
All right. Okay. I love this. That's fantastic.
Nice.
Okay. All right. And then finally, Joe, what is Clover up to? We'll say maybe you're with Rika then, if Verona and I.
Yeah.
So we'll say maybe the two of you are together. So what are you thinking?
Mainly healing. When I'm looking for the place to sleep, I'm like, I hope you guys don't mind if I get a little blood. Kind of everywhere. I'm in a lot of pain.
Oh, no, don't worry about that. We'll clean that up. No problem. No problem at all. We got a lot of very nice cleaners around here. All environmentally friendly. Every single one of them. Don't you worry about it at all.
Good.
You want me to help you? Want me to help you patch that up a bit? And this is like maybe the husband that Rika's talking. Rika's talking to the this old grandmotherly figure. And this is like the old maybe this is just Simon. We'll say this is just Simon. He's like, I can help you up right there. Yeah, all right, fella, definitely. Oh, those look rough. Those look absolutely terrible. Well, that's tricky. So he's like bringing you things and like little poultices and such.
Do I still have that overclocked 2 status from, or was that a temporary one from the cactus?
That was when you over channeled your powers, right? Or no, that was when you got struck by lightning.
That was when I was trying to make the lightning
electric strike by the cactus.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to still have that because that's basically like electrocution. So you're kind of like electrocuted. So that's
okay.
That's still there.
Okay.
You did have Rika's cyberware repair kit from before for the car that we didn't end up using. Just I don't know if that helps at all.
Yeah, does the car need to be fixed in downtime, or is that tomorrow? How's that?
The car, you guys didn't burn it. We were more kind of flavoring it. We're getting to the point where I was going to say, if you guys continue to use it, I was going to have you burn it at a certain point. But but you don't have to necessarily burn your downtime power. If you wanted to make a roll tomorrow or something, that's fine. But you could take the power. I'm
going to spend all 3 of my power just removing shredded 2 and infected 1.
All right. And I'll say Simon's helping you. He's bringing you poultices, cleaning, get you some clean rags, fresh water, all that kind of stuff. And whatever materials he's bringing, it's not like they're, what he's bringing you is suddenly none of them was marked by corporate logos. You don't see anything, but he's bringing you products that you would probably see if you were to go, just down the street to a Ripper Dock or something like that, there's a lot of products you're using, and it's just like devoid of any kind of corporate logo. It all just seems like just.
Do they still look like they were manufactured, or do they kind of have like a homemade kind of edge about them?
As far as you can tell, I mean, they work. So if it's like a little staple thing that you're using to kind of suture up some of your wounds, or if it's like various so some sort of like it's antiseptic or something like that, it functions the same, has the same kind of like little burn quality to it and everything. All of it seems to function exactly the same as anything you've ever used.
Okay.
Just store brand.
All right. Yeah, I'm mainly doing that with my power, and the only other thing I wanted to do after he's done kind of helping me patch up, I would say like, oh, I forgot something out in my van. I'll be back. And then when I step out, I want to turn back into my frog form and just go off and investigate and see how Agaricus is doing. And if he's actually out in the field, or if they're doing some weird ritual with him or whatever.
You see Mallory and Agaricus are out there. They're eating peppers and they're talking and they're looking up at the stars. Seems like they're just having a good night. Nothing seems amiss.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I became all like I am now.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going, Clover?
I don't think you know it's Clover because he's in frog form. I don't think.
Sorry.
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's fine.
Yeah, no, I don't say anything then.
Okay.
Other than
I'm just a frog.
Other than whatever you're saying to Agaricus, like you come in the middle of the conversation. But yeah, everything seems fine, Clover.
So
okay.
I don't know, man. I really need to find Lucky. This is bothering crap out of me.
I think I would stay for just long enough that Agaricus sees me, and then I would hop away.
Yeah,
and then...
Agaricus, you've been hearing like the voices of Mallory, the wind, some bugs, and all of a sudden you hear. You look over, and like right at the last second, you see a frog just leap away into the darkness.
Couldn't be. No.
Huh?
No.
And Clover, you hear him.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit. I am very curious as a frog. I'm hearing bugs and insects and things. So I just want to wait for a little bit and see if one gets close by and try and snatch it with my tongue.
Absolutely. You're in frog form. I don't know do you think you have like frog taste buds? So do you think this tastes okay?
I don't know if I do. So I think that's what I'm testing. I would imagine
heads or tails?
That I do.
Let's do heads or tails. Oh, I dropped it. Hang on. I can see it though. Heads or tails?
I'll do heads.
Okay, it is heads. So yeah, it's you have whatever you prefer.
Okay. I think it would be funnier if I didn't have frog taste buds. So I like snatch the fly, or Agaricus comes around, he sees me just kind of like choking on a bug. Like, spit it out because it's horrible.
Strangest thing. Okay.
And then I hop away back to the van.
Okay. And are you gonna crash in the van?
No, I just wanted to investigate and see if Agaricus was actually fine out in the field. And seems like he is, and Mallory's there with him, so I'm fine with that. And then I'll go back and sleep inside of the house.
Okay. So night passes. Let's see. Let me double check the names. Okay, so Verana, Ivan, and Rika. The three of you have kind of a strange dream that kind of hits you a little bit, and it's like when you're kind of going through your process. It's not a waking dream or lucid dream or anything like that, but you get a dream that seems at first whatever you normally would dream about. So Brana, if you're dreaming about like your lost person, Rika, if you're dreaming about guns, and then who else? Ivan, if you're dreaming about fire. So whatever it might be, like you're having a fairly similar dream. But then like whatever kind of recurring dream you have is interrupted as you can see that there is like a figure there, like a silhouetted person. You can't quite make out the face, and at a close enough distance to you that you can kind of see, like, they just look like a kind of standard looking person, but you can never quite zero in on the faces themselves. And you hear like a voice, and it's a little like choppy at times, like it's coming through interference. And it's just like, hurry, please, hurry. Time running out. Danger. Do not let subroutine distract. Do not. And then like they flicker out all of a sudden, like just, and you see them like rip off into like 1,000 tiny particles as if they just sort of were annihilated right in front of you. And then you go back to kind of having this sort of normal dream that you would normally have. Whatever you normally dream, whatever your recurring dream is, kind of just everything kind of goes back to normal, except for that one moment where something seemed to have interrupted it. The rest of you have amazing, wonderful sleep. You feel extremely rejuvenated. You wake up in the morning, you feel like, whether you're rolling over from a bed or rolling over from the earth or whatever it might be, you feel refreshed. Those of you out in the field, you feel like the warm sun begin to hit on your face. It's not burning too badly. There's still some cloud cover in the sky. And then those of you that are waking up inside beds, same kind of deal. You just feel utterly refreshed. And none of you were murdered in your sleep. So where do we find the group next? Where do we want to set a scene? Do we meet up again near the van so everyone's together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, van makes sense.
Okay. We head over by the
Verona
van.
would probably share with folks like on the way. Like, Ivan, did you dream about subroutines?
I did. It was weird. It was real weird. I was roasting marshmallows. And then there was this dude standing there talking about danger and subroutines and...
Yes, danger.
Then he
exploded. Danger. Oh, right. That was how that... So we had the same dream.
You dreamt about s'mores as well?
Well, no, not that part. I'll keep those details to myself. But the danger subroutine part sounds the same.
Yeah, the creepy in this place keeps creeping up. And it's very odd because it was like super roboto kind of thing. But this place is definitely not that.
Well, but I will say that Clover and I, when we were walking and talking to Simon, he did just freeze, almost like a program might freeze and then resume.
That did happen. And he got
Clover,
very
you're there.
offended about it.
Oh,
I thought we were all together at the van.
I thought we were walking up. That's why I was letting them have their private
We
conversation.
didn't realize Clover was following us to the van. Holy crap.
I was thinking Varika and Clover were together, and I hadn't talked about the dream at that time. But if we're all together, Varika is going to pipe up and say she had the dream too.
I'm just going to say, I bought an upgrade. Agaricus smells amazing. It's kind of earthy, but it's just really pleasant, and you feel your stress levels kind of lowered.
Oh.
I bought like pheromones.
That's awesome.
Oh.
All of you, as you're talking around, as you're meeting up,
nice.
You see this golden retriever, this beautiful golden retriever just comes trotting up. You see it sniff in the air, and it starts to wander over to Agaricus, and it's just sort of like nuzzling against Agaricus at this point.
Come here. And then little bit, who can use any tags I have on the floral growth, he'll do a pheromone that exudes excitement.
Okay. So
and like
and so like the beautiful, and it's beautiful golden retriever, doesn't even look dirty. And then like you can see a little bit, they start playing and like little bits like petting, as best they can. It's a little awkward. It's doing the classic like where the kids petting a little too hard, so it's like pulling the eyes back a little bit, that kind of thing. But, yeah, it's okay, Lenny, calm down. All right, yeah, okay. What are you guys doing? You guys tell me. What would you like to do? No danger seems to be All right.
I wanted to share some details about my conversation with the lady last night. I'm going to say generally that, like, I was wanting to find out more about the kind of beliefs they have here and that kind of thing. So I'll share what she shared about renewal and growth and that kind of thing. Garrus, I really, really want this to feel good for you, and it's already started to feel good for you, and nobody wants this more for you than me. But there were a few things that really made me concerned last night, and if you tell me, if all of you say to me that it's not anything to worry about, then I will stop trying to make things more difficult for Garrus, because I realize that's what I've been doing.
You couldn't possibly make things more difficult. In fact, just because something feels right for me doesn't mean it has to be right for you.
Well,
and that's okay.
One of the things I wanted to mention, there were three things, like I said. One is that apparently there's some kind of ritual or festival they do in the fall, and I wasn't privy to the details of the festival. I really hope it's as benign as she was making it sound, but I really think out of all of us here, Garrus, you might be the only one able to find some more information about that, and hopefully it doesn't have anything to do with harming you. So that's one. The other thing is that apparently Brother Lysander is also a prodigal son, according to their beliefs. So carries that title, similar to you. That part in and of itself is not as concerning. What is concerning is that apparently his role in this community is to help decipher what the Grandfather is saying to everyone here. So the Grandfather apparently communes with everyone here, and Brother Lysander is the interpreter for that communication. There are several issues with that, but let me tell you my third concern first.
Are you intentionally misrepresenting what she said, or
no?
Did I not explain? He's just the best at it. There are many people who do it. He just seems to be the most gifted at interpreting the visions.
Thank
so there's
you.
more than Brother Lysander.
I mistakenly said that, and so I'll correct what I said to say that. A third thing is that I expressed that I was concerned for you, Garrus, and I feel like there's always been a very big concern about the community rather than a concern about you. And I hope I'm reading that wrong. I hope I'm reading all of this wrong. But yeah, those are my the things that kind of stood out to me. And like I said, if nobody else is concerned, then
it's fine.
I'll drop it. But
I would be terrified in the city if I didn't have you as a friend. I think everything there is terrifying. So I can appreciate how you feel. When I got to AB, I was horrifying there. Yes, AB. And see, now I say AB, and I used to be like, oh no.
You see a bunch of people walking past who look over as you start your... oh, hi, Garrus. And then they continue.
Yeah.
You're
imagine,
just a good friend. It's fine.
Imagine I felt last night like you do most nights, surrounded by all the fauna instead of the flora, huh?
And we're here to try to find Lucky. So Garricus, a fall festival could be a lovely thing for you to come back to when it is that time of year. It sounds like something that would be. You all have gone with me to things before that I'm sure were not of your interest. So.
We respect your culture and heritage. I don't understand it.
And Bruno will kind of look to Reagan and say, we have noted that this whole area is quite dangerous with the cacti and the storms and the marauders and all of that. I did sense a lot of souls here, and that may be because this is the Badlands, so it could be this whole area here. But it seems that we're able to leave if we want to, and that's probably the most important thing. We were able to get a night of respite.
All right.
It's a good nap.
Yeah,
I feel much better.
Dude.
I was wondering how they grew the crops and everything, and I was asking where the water was. They didn't tell me, but they also did say why. And that's because, raiders would come and take it. So, I don't know. Could be suspicious, could not. I mean, I can see why you wouldn't want to. Tell me that. You just met me today.
Yeah, they did try to murder us on sight.
They do have resources here that a lot of folks would want for themselves.
We're a day better, and hopefully a little bit closer to your friend Lucky.
Yeah, can we go?
So, Garricus, you don't want to stay? You're gonna come with us?
I mean, I want to come back, but I'm not going to abandon the rest of you. Like I said, I came to Arizona Bay. I was terrified of that place, much the way that this place makes you nervous. But you know what made me feel better? You did. So I'm not going to leave you, and you need me. You didn't.
Wait, that's. Thank you.
But I might come back, though.
No, that's and you should. There are people who love you and think you are as amazing as all of us already know you are, but a whole new group of people who know that now is.
So just one last mission, and then everything's fine.
Yeah, but what am I going to do the next time I need to jump out of a window?
Don't
do it. It's a bad idea.
Hang glider. I hear works pretty well too.
Yeah, just stretch the skin like a flying squirrel.
You could do it. You could make your own hang glider with your stomach. All right.
Garricus, did you
just spread the ribs out to kind of be bracing supports?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then the skin. Oh god.
Yeah. And the skin is the perfect. All right.
Did you want to say farewell to
of course.
Brother Lysander? And
I mean, I'm not a rude man. Of course I'm going to do that.
Okay.
You can find them very easily inside the diner. They're very happy to see you and hear you. Do you tell them where you're going?
Yes, I don't know exactly where we're heading. We're looking for my friend Mal. We came into this area looking for his friend Lucky. I don't know exactly where we're going to find him. We're assuming there may be a site that used to belong to the corporation around here.
Oh. There is one just east of here, in the ridge. It's about maybe 2 miles away.
I think she told us about that one. That's the same one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one. There are others, but that's definitely the closest. And it's just be careful going on in there, young man. There are some things in there that are unnatural.
Yeah, but you do the same for one of your flock, right?
Well, of course,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I understand it entirely. If your
Yeah.
friend's in danger, then absolutely you should go and see to it.
I appreciate the warning. Anything you could tell us about it? Like, give us some.
Well, Demeter Corp, what we've been able to learn, what Grainfather has been able to tell us, is that they whether their intentions were good or evil or some combination of the two, they seem to have tapped into something that has caused the natural order of the Badlands to be turned on its head and turned inside out in some ways. And while the Greenfather has helped guide some of the mutations that have derived from it so that they are civil and orderly and friendly, there are those that are outside of the Greenfather's reach. Some of those are creatures you might have faced out on the various plateaus and mesas of the Badlands, and others remain locked in the lower vaults of the site. There's different theories as to exactly what they are. Former workers exposed to some of the chemicals and such that Demeter Corp was experimenting with, or marauders and raiders looking to try to come up with some kind of treasure to make them rich. But that is a very dangerous place, is all I would say. And if your friend is in there, well, then I will commune with the Grainfather, if you like, to see if there's anything he might be able to lend aid, if that is your wish. And he's saying this to Mallory.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest thing is getting lucky out. So yeah, if you want to help.
Okay. Well, Garricus, would you like to meet the Greenfather?
I didn't want to impose. I was really hoping you would invite me.
Well, of course. Well, if you come with me, I'll have them back within an hour. Shouldn't take that much time, if that's all right.
Yeah. Just quick question though. Like, is it only people who can do planty stuff that can meet him? Can I meet him too?
You're gonna have to make a roll for this. We haven't done a roll, I think, the whole night. So let's do a roll. Let's see if you can convince it. And you will get you can put together your own pool, but you did eat the bread, so you are enriched, and so you can actually use that
nice
on this roll.
Hell
nice.
yes.
So like, because I had that moment last night of like, this is what I fought for, this is kind of what I risked my life for, is to be able to see something like this. I am going to lean into disaster survivor and eco-terrorist for that. Okay. And
this is more to like kind of compel him you are a safe person to bring before what he considers a god. So I'm not sure that terrorist, especially an eco-terrorist against a deity called the Grainfather, is going to help you.
Well, maybe then I should take a moment and explain that. Like, I'd really like to meet him because, like, I've been fighting for nature against corporations. Like, I almost gave my life for this, and I was just sharing a moment with the Garricus last night in the field, slept out there. Like, I would like to meet him because it's what I've devoted a lot of my life to.
Okay.
Hey, that's a way to...
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, go for it. Give it a roll.
Right. Any negatives at all?
No, not on your part. Nope.
Okay. Unless he's made out of water.
Okay, what's the total?
7.
Okay. All right. So there will be a narrative consequence that I will reveal at a later stage.
Yeah, that's more fun.
Ooh.
But in this moment, you can definitely tell he hems and haws a little bit. You can see he exchanges a look with Miri and a few of the others. And he looks at Agaricus and then he says, yes, you can accompany with us.
This is
yes.
cool. All right, cool.
So,
Thanks.
now, if you all excuse me, Mary can situate you if you like. I'm going to take these two young, fine gentlemen off to see the grain farm. And so, bids you all kind of farewell. He gets up and he leads you, the two of you, out of the diner.
Can I want to be a frog and join Agaricus for that.
Okay, you're going to need to do a roll to stealthily get onto Agaricus. I'll say you
I'm
could
hoping
probably...
Agaricus will invite me along if he sees me.
I'll grow a little lily pad on my shoulder.
Okay. All right. You need to give me a choice here. Do you want him to see a frog on Agaricus' shoulder and react to that? Or do you want him to try to sneakily get onto Agaricus? Because either way, you're not getting in for free. You're going to have to do a roll one way or the other. It's either to like convince him the way Mallory did or to sneak in, which is another option.
I don't think he's going to hide that he's there.
Okay.
He's just going to try and downplay that.
Okay.
I'm just a frog.
All right. So do you just change into a frog in the middle of the diner like this?
Not in the middle of the diner, no. I'd go out and
try to do it away from anyone seeing. Change into
telephone booth
in the frog. Maybe while Mallory is beseeching for some help, that's when you go do it. And you go into you begin hopping your way. A dog runs over, bites you, squishes you, and you're dead. No. So Agaricus and Mallory, and then Clover, who is sitting on the lily pad, you two are led by this man to the grain silo. If you recall, there was that very large grain silo that had kind of the lights at the top, and he takes you over there. And there is a set of doors that you can see has a very complex and surprisingly modern locking mechanism that seems to be kind of keeping and preventing people from coming inside. And you can see that as Brother Lysander steps up to kind of enter in whatever kind of pass code or process, he stops for a moment. You see his head kind of tilts as if like somebody is telling him something, and he turns around and he says, well, Agaricus, I believe you have a frog on your shoulder.
He's amazing. I can't believe he found me all the way here.
Well, he is one of your friends, so...
I like to think so, too.
No, I mean, he is the one who owns the van.
Really? I didn't know.
I'm going to do my best to shrug as a frog.
You just shrug as a frog? Okay. And he looks, yes, there's a... It's okay, Mr. Clover, I believe your name was. If you wanted to come inside, you simply could have asked. He's like waiting. And he's like saying this to...
I'll nod.
Were you there?
I don't think I can talk as the frog. I was trying to.
I look at Clover and I say that.
I'll just nod and then like ribbit really loud.
Because I think this is the first time Mallory's ever seen him or ever heard of him being a frog. Because I think it's always been while he was away.
No one, I don't think anyone knows that it's him turning into a frog. I think he's just been showing up in places as a frog. But he knew. Somehow Lysander just knew. You saw him pause and like look up and like as if he was listening. And then he turned around and he immediately knew.
I remember like watching a werewolf movie once. Is this like that? Do you like, is there something that turns you into this?
Doesn't appear that he is capable of speaking in that form.
I'm not.
That's
Now,
frustrating.
Really, really
I'm not.
loudly again.
Garricus, I am more than happy to take your friend Mallory inside. Mallory has enriched himself with our goods, as has Clover, but I must say, the deception is a little alarming. A simple request would have been fine. We have been nothing but open and honest with provisions and information when it does not harm us, of course. To lie about who you are in an attempt to gain entrance to our most sacred of shrines, well, that is truly an affront.
Oh. When you put it like that, it does sound a bit disappointing.
I'll
Yes, it is.
hop off and then just kind of hop back to town with that.
And I'm sure you meant well, Clover. He had a whole bad thing with a genie once, apparently it seemed friendly at first, and then it went poorly, and you're just a bunch of wounded individuals that really mean well.
See, they all seem to be very protective of you, so they are welcome here. And then once Clover moves away, you see he reaches his hand out and he starts growing what looks like these extra fingers kind of out of his palm. And you just see him like move it around like ridiculously fast. And he's like kind of touching this keypad and things are moving. And then it goes for about like 20 seconds of that. And then finally you hear and these like two doors open up almost like they're an elevator. And he says, "Follow me." And he steps inside.
I follow.
All right, so Mallory and Garrick, as you go inside. Meanwhile, back at the diner, you guys are here. You've seen Garricus move off. You've seen Clover has disappeared. Mallory has left as well. So the three of you, Verona, Ivan, Rika. Mary is here. She has been cordial with the three of you, but you can tell that she's a little frosty, a little offended. But otherwise, like, people have offered you bread and food again, water to drink, all sorts of things. And then you see the door open up and you see somebody walk into the diner that looks nothing like any of the people that you've seen before. Like, everyone you've seen is like dressed in these kind of like homemade clothes, like these kind of, but whenever you got close to them, you can tell that they're extremely finely made. They got these little like fiber weaves kind of going through it. You can tell they're using like more advanced materials. But you see a woman step into the diner. She is, it's hard to tell in terms of her age because she is very scarred. And you can see like half of her hair is kind of missing. It's not intentionally. It looks like there's like a pretty bad burn scar. You're not sure if it's like burn fire or like acidic burn. She's got an augmented eye. And she's got like this patched up exosuit, and she has like a dust streaked bandana that's kind of hanging down. And she's just like clink, clink, clink as she walks through, almost like a cowboy kind of walking through. Like, but when you look down, it's not like cowboy boots. It's just like these heavy steel plated boots. And you see following her in is this scrawny looking dog that you realize is not a dog, but is a coyote. And no one in the diner seems to be alarmed by this, but she looks like one of the marauders effectively that you guys fought. But she comes in and you can, she'll look out and she's like, Mary, Sable. And then she moves off into a corner and sits. And then she kind of gets some food and it's kind of brought over to her. And like the coyote like hops up into the other side of like the booth that she sits in and is just sitting on the other side, and the two of them are kind of waiting as like bread and water are brought over. And Mary like leans over. That's Sable Rust. She's she used to be, well, I guess you could say she was a marauder at one point, was a scavenger at the very least. She doesn't quite organize herself or align herself with some of the more aggressive and violent and bloodthirsty, but she's a bit rough around the edges, but she is nonetheless a friend of Greendale. She has in the past done some diving into ruins. In fact, that's how we found her. in that site to the east. She nearly died, but the Greenfather somehow knew and directed Lysander and a few others into the ruins to recover her before she was consumed by whatever creatures were haunting her. So if you all are intending, she might be a reasonable person to talk to. Just don't anger her coyote. She doesn't like that.
We would
Deal.
absolutely want to have a conversation. And Verona will sort of look at Ivan. I think we were perhaps hoping to talk to you briefly.
Yeah,
To me?
tiny little question.
Oh, well, okay. What can I do you for?
How do we want to phrase
Sorry,
this?
before they speak, Rika knows that Mary doesn't really like her. So she's gonna get up and excuse herself and walk over to Sable and leave these guys to speak to her without
Fair
Rika
enough.
there.
Okay. So Verona and
So
Ivan.
we're kind of like haltingly. So dreams here.
Yes.
We had this
Shared dream?
and she sort of, yeah. What do you say?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's very interesting. What was shared about it?
A shadowy robot person talking about subroutines and danger, and then they exploded.
You can see like she calmly leans back. Oh. Well, that is very alarming.
Yeah.
Is that
And
is that surprising? Is that happened before?
it's not the first time that has befallen someone here in Greendale. Mostly those passing through, not anyone who has spent a great deal of time here.
Befallen's
Usually-
an interesting choice of words. Is it a
Well-
precursor to something terrible?
Well, I didn't want to say this. And no, I shouldn't. I'm out of place. I shouldn't.
If it's a warning of danger, we would appreciate if that means we need to move along a little more swiftly.
One of you is going to have to make a roll. I know you're not great at this, and not only that, but you rejected hospitality, so
We
you're going
did.
to have that working against you. So one of you is going to have to make a roll, and I do want to remind you that you can burn tags to get extra power. It's just so this, like, you can
Yeah.
tell, like, she knows something like that you get for free, but getting it out of her is something that isn't for free. So one of you can assist the other, and then that you'll get a power for that. But like, someone's gonna have to make a roll between the two of you.
I mean, I can put together a decent pool, but it's gonna be threatening her.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think
you are
Verona-
outnumbered about
yeah.
A shitload
30
to
2
one.
or so.
Yeah.
So like in
Verona's-
the diner right now.
Well, so Verona's got troubled past, similar to Mallory. So
Okay, I'll take that.
she could burn tragic loss of being in a situation where she knew that there might be danger, and she lives every day with the knowledge that had she had more foresight, she could have saved herself and her loved one from their awful, awful death. So
Okay.
I'll burn that tag.
It's like a little guilt situation going on. I like it. Okay.
I could assist throwing in
Mhm.
my has a soft side tag,
Wow.
playing it up like we might be a little uncomfortable here, but we don't want anything bad to happen to you.
Okay.
Your
I
bread
love
was
it.
tasty
That's perfect.
while it was in me?
What a weird qualification.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have these hairs to prove I pet your dog.
I forgot about that. Oh my god, that was so ridiculous. Okay. So you're doing tragic loss, and you're doing that. You're burning that Rana. You said, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3. One more from Ivan helping with his soft side. We'll just do the quick way, and then -1 because you rejected hospitality. So it sounds to me like you have a net of 3. So go ahead and give it a roll. We'll treat this like a track because the better you do, the more you might be able to win.
So net of 3, and I'm gonna roll. Okay, so let me try to make sure I do this right. So I'm gonna roll with tragic loss +2, which I think will
honestly,
work the way it's
nothing
supposed
hurts
to.
more than this. Like bringer of retribution. There's a lot of stuff in your troubled past I think you can leverage if you really want to.
Yeah, I think because I'm burning something, that's sort of the limit of what I can do because I'm burning and getting the
you
3.
can do more
so
stuff. You just can only burn 1 tag. Like
Okay.
you can never burn more than 1 tag. We screwed that up way back
Okay.
when. But like you can burn 1 and still use others.
All right, so I think this is going to work the way it's supposed to.
Oh, phenomenal roll.
Yay!
Okay. All right. So that's a 12. Okay, fantastic.
Nice.
That is phenomenal. Okay, so that means you're gonna have a total, because I think,
4
did you
power.
end up using like nothing hurts more than this? So you ended up with
Yes.
4 power? Okay, so you have 4
Yeah.
power.
Yep.
You have 4 power to spend to discover information.
Hell
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
You could do a couple things. You could just burn all 4 and I'll give you what she knows. Or you could spend 2 of that to remove rejected hospitality and then spend the other 2 to discover. That's another thing you could potentially do.
That sounds useful. So
Okay. All right,
I
so
will
spend 2.
Yeah.
Remove rejected hospitality, and then you have 2 more power to spend basically to get 2 bits of details that she might know about this. Okay. So she looks at the 2 of you, and between Ivan having a soft
Waterworks
side
with Verona, like all of
Waterworks,
her
you
mascara
could tell,
is
like,
running.
She's like, oh, I didn't want to say it in front of your friend Mallory because I know that he was searching for his friend. And what I said was true. No one named Lucky came through here. It's just that there are people who have come through here before and have gone to those ruins, some of whom have used Greendale as a staging ground for their explorations. And as long as they were peaceful, we allowed it. It's perfectly fine. And the problem is that very few of those ever came out from the facility once they delved inside of it. Sable was one of the only ones in recent memory, and not only that, many of them were visited in their dreams by a consciousness that seems to be awake within the ruins themselves. We don't. What we believe is that it somehow piggybacks on theta waves, and it can find its way into certain folk who are not under the full protection of the Grainfather. When he has firewalled them against the demons inside of the ruins, he can protect them, but some of you rejected our hospitality, leaving yourselves potentially susceptible to this entity, whatever it might be. I've never been inside myself. We have seen a great number of folk who have come here with a very similar story to your friend Mallory. a friend of theirs was, sometimes it's a friend loss, sometimes it's a employer loss, sometimes it's a promise of some great reward. Many people come through here and they see that ruin as an answer to something they seek. It could be kinship, retribution, or just wealth, but they don't, like I said, return. We believe that there's something of power and danger below, and that is why we remain separate from it, and we warn folks from descending, but not that many believe us. And it sounds as though some of you were visited by this consciousness.
Verona sort of looks to Ivan. So Lucky isn't there?
It sounds like Lucky is. I'm confused.
I don't know about Lucky.
Yeah.
I apologize. As I said, no one by the name of Lucky has come through here. Many people have. Not everyone gives their true name, of course. Many are very suspicious of us.
Sure.
She looks over with like the dirtiest look. Some are very mistrusting.
I couldn't tell if you meant that it was sort of like those communications that say that they are from your employer and they need you to send money immediately, but your employer is fine and is not the one sending you the message. I wasn't sure if that's what you meant. That sometimes
I don't know for certain.
Oh dear.
I can only say that there are many who come through here and they do not return from inside. It could be you are right and you are being misled. It could also be that your friend's Lucky is inside. I'm afraid I do not know the answer. I felt it incumbent upon me to tell you the truth.
Oh, thank you. We were concerned about the dreams and what that could have meant. So there's something in partaking in your nourishment that helps to protect those who eat from the theta waves?
Yes. If you partake, if you consume, he is the grain father. You are eating grain. You are taking a piece of his strength into you, and he is therefore capable of extending his protection to you. That is why we call it community.
Okay.
Would you like some bread? And she like kind of waves someone, and someone comes over and they put a basket of bread down in front of you. You are welcome. It is wonderful. It is wonderful bread, is it not? We've been told by many who have come through here that it is they have never tasted anything quite like it.
When I tasted it yesterday, it was really good.
And then she makes a face. That is curious. You did partake, didn't you? And yet you still had the dream.
Yeah, don't worry. It's nothing wrong with your bread. I run really hot, and sometimes things I eat, they don't make it far enough. They burn up on contact.
The nutrients don't go through
so yeah,
the same.
If there was anything fancy in the bread, it was probably destroyed.
The Garricus has such fascinating friends.
He among the most of us. I do appreciate your hospitality. Having had this dream though, knowing that had I eaten the bread, I might not have gotten the warning. If our friends are looking to continue to the east to check this out, I might perhaps want to leave myself open to such warnings if it might be of assistance to us, and maybe on the way back through I could partake of the bread.
I'll certainly have some more bread. Apologies if it doesn't do me any good, but it was tasty.
You are welcome to it. If that is your wish, Prana, you do not, of course, have to partake. I believe you are more susceptible to the dangers that are in the bowels of Demeter Corp's facility, but you are your own person and you make your own decisions. We do not make decisions for people here in Greendale.
And occasionally I may carry some medicinals or things that if I am in a situation and I find it necessary, I have it at the ready. Would it be possible to get, say, a slice of bread to go?
You would like to take some with you?
Yes, it would. I would not want to take a large amount, but perhaps.
Oh, we have in abundance. And so, yeah. So they'll get you a to-go bag. They'll get you a doggy bag. That's what they do.
A roll that if I'm in a situation and I'm like, oh, would have been good to eat the bread, let me shove a roll in my mouth.
Yeah. Go ahead and put in your inventory a temporary tag for a bag of bread.
You should put it as emergency bread or wonder
emergency bread. Wonder bread. Oh, look at that. That's so good. Okay. Do you have any more questions for her? I think she gave you 2 big pieces for your power.
Yeah, we wanted to bring up the dreams.
Yeah.
Let's check in with Rika really quick. Rika, you go over. You see this woman. She looks up at you. What do you want?
Mind if I sit with you?
Yeah.
All right, I'll stand then. We're just passing through. We're going to that Demeter Corp facility just around the corner.
She bites a big chunk of bread, starts chewing.
Miriam said that you'd be good to talk to about that.
She did she? She looks past you and kind of gives like Miriam a little bit of a sneer. You want to talk to me about what? About?
What, have you been there before? Have you seen anyone else down there, or just you going there?
You can see
we're
like,
looking
she's like
for
considering. Like her eye, like her augmentation eyes, like zzz, zzz, this is like you can tell she's studying something.
Like all Augs.
Yeah, exactly. Give me a roll. Just give me a roll. See how trustworthy she is. Kind of like what Verona and Ivan did, and then I'll kind of determine how forthcoming she might be.
I don't know if local contacts and guides would work here because she is that.
No, you don't have any local contacts or guides inside Greendale.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I can make a case for either Toughest Nails or Intimidating, because I would like to match her energy in this moment.
Yeah, I like Toughest Nails. Intimidating, I would say, like if you're gonna intimidate her, like if that's your goal, that might flavor her reaction to you. It could still work, but it's definitely gonna be like
no, I'm not trying to like
some stuff.
Yeah, but Toughest Nails, she's tough, you're tough.
Toughest Nails for sure. Yeah, Toughest Nails, I think it's totally fine.
Sweet. Can I also then, on a similar vein, do Dazzle and Impress?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she does have a tag that's going to come into play here called mistrusting.
Yeah. I'm trying to
You don't
see
say.
if
Yeah.
trying to see if there's any weakness tags I can.
Well, you're only at a +1 right now, so I would be careful with in this roll.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else I would like to use for positives or negatives.
Okay.
So that's
give it a roll.
net +1.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So it's just 2d6 +1.
That is 10 + 1 is 11.
Okay. Okay. So that's the success. You had 1 power, so you can spend basically 1 power to get like 1 bit of detail out of her. So as you ask if like you know, if she's been there, she'll just look up, yeah. What's it to you?
We're looking for someone named Lucky who might be in, I don't know, maybe the bells of the place. Somewhere hunkered down that he was able to send a short message out to someone I'm traveling with. Would you happen to know how to get to anywhere or anyone like that?
Someone you know is in there right now.
Yeah.
They messaged you. They got a message out.
They did. It was pretty spotty and short, but basically they just told us they gave us a vague instruction of where they were and what had trapped them.
Well, where would they? There ain't many safe spaces down there. And it's hard getting signals out very far. It's built into a mountain, and most of the reactor is, it's still got power, so something's still churning, but no, if they're, where did they say they were?
It may have been a cryo chamber or some kind of
She like raises her eyebrows.
room?
She like whistles. You ain't kidding. They're really far down. I never quite made it that far, but I know that the cryo wards are down by the data core. I know that place, at least when I was there a few months back, still had power. I know there's some other lab down there. I don't know what it is. They called it, the schematics I got, they called it the God Lab. I don't know what they were making, but probably an acronym for something. They always have acronyms for something.
Sure.
But that's the bios themselves. I think only the reactor's lower. Yeah, you're heading deep into the mountain.
Do you happen to know how many floors down?
I can give you the schematic.
That would, you know, if you have schematics, that would be.
And she's like considering this for a second. Are you willing to take a consequence to gain a second power so that you can create a tag with 2 power? That would be the schematics. Okay.
I am.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put another narrative consequence. So I got.
I think Barry said no to Jeff for one of those.
Okay. So she'll look up. Yeah. And she'll say, all right. Don't say I didn't warn you. And if you do make it out, you find something good in there, I expect a taste of finder's fee.
Absolutely. In fact, here's my number, and I'll, like, with my datapad, send her my contact details, as I take up my gigs pretty often, so I'll make sure to keep you in mind.
We're not pen pals or nothing.
No, I don't.
If you find
need
something,
pen pals.
I get a cut.
Yeah.
It's a simple transaction.
Sure.
And you hear like the coyote is like growling. But nonetheless, she'll shoot over the schematics and you can add that tag to your sheet.
Nice.
Let's cut back to Agaricus and Mallory. They plunge into this dark silo. And there's no light at first. But you hear his voice. He's like, come on in, gentlemen. Come on in. And you hear the door kind of close behind you. And then you hear this complex, like in the actual door itself. And when you are walking through, you realize like the thickness of the walls of this silo is far thicker than you would have given it credit for. If seriously, it was like a series of slabs that you walk through. It's almost like a hallway. And then suddenly you hear him just say, "Let there be light." And you just see all this light starts to show up. And what you see is on the screen, or excuse me, on the sides of the wall are all these massive curved screens. The most highly advanced looking display screens that you probably can see. This is the type of stuff that you would see in like the most high-end kind of corporate produced like lounge. This is the type of stuff you probably saw when you were crawling about Ironclad. And you just kind of see it all up and around. You can see there are these towering servers that just go all the way up to the very top of the actual silo itself, which is kind of flickering with lights here and there. And then you can see that on these like these curved screens, there's all sorts of like different images that are just kind of flashing around here and there. It's not security. It's not like you're looking at various like locations within Greendale. It's just like surreal images. And it almost looks like dreams in some ways, like the collage of things. Like sometimes it's letterings, sometimes it's images, sometimes it's artwork, sometimes it's people, and some of it is like haunting, and some of it is benign and sort of mundane. And it's just like this rapid fire. And there is like a huge console, and he steps over and he kind of sits down in this big chair. And Brother Lysander starts kind of typing away at this board that comes out. And as he does so, like you can see like this screen suddenly shift in the center and change. And it's just kind of this white, then turns to yellow. And then you see like a face kind of emerge from it. This like almost featureless face, like a little bit of eye, a little bit of a nose brow. But otherwise it's relatively like plain, like human face. And he turns to you, Agaricus, and he says, "Agaricus, say hello to the Grain Father." And
hello, Grain Father.
The face kind of looks down towards you and it says, "Welcome home, Agaricus. I am pleased you have returned to us. Welcome, Mallory, friend of Agaricus. You will see my will done. You will see Greendale protected." Like Brother Lysander looks up at you, big grin, big smile on his face. "Excellent. We have much to discuss." And then you see the face kind of blends away, and then all these sorts of images start kind of flying up on the screen. And Lysander's like, "Well, Agaricus, pull up a chair. We got some work to do." And okay. I think we'll cut on that, and we'll call that for the night, and we'll pick on that next week.
Yay.
Oh, good.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
You met God. Isn't that great?
It is.
Yeah.
You
guys remember that episode?
Green.
You guys remember that episode of Star Trek Next Generation, where Silence has no lease, and there's like the face that keeps coming up on the screen, like that. That's kind of what I've envisioned. Except
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I like the it's the God
Oh,
Lab.
that's
I don't
good.
know what they were making there though.
They're making.
Yeah.
They're
Right?
making. I don't know. Who knows? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
Oh my
we'll figure out
gosh.
what Clover was doing as he was hopping back
Lord.
to the dump and getting run over by a truck. You come out, there's just pieces of frog everywhere. Okay.
But I
Well, there
shift
we go.
back after I get mutilated.
I always thought it was kind of funny how like a lot of those like shifter, like they always revert back to their regular form. Wouldn't it be great if they didn't? And you just sort of like stayed in your
Just
terrible
like
form and-
stuck.
Yeah. and no one knows that you died because they didn't know you were a werewolf or a frog or whatever. That guy got-
You just die that
I got
way.
eaten by a potato somewhere. All right. Let's go ahead and let's do some plugs. Let's get on out of here. Let's see who's up first. Adam, we're gonna start with you. What do you got going on with Cannon Otter, man?
We are still working on the Monster Boyfriend catalog for Skin City. We are nearing completion. We've only got a few monsters left, so hopefully it'll be off to layout here soon. But in the meantime, welcome to the 90s. You remember that phrase?
Yeah.
Remember before everyone had cell phones and you could just ride bikes around
Nice.
until the streetlights came on?
I really miss the 90s. Those were great times.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that slime monster or vampire you ran into on the way to school? No? Maybe that's just us, but it could be you if you take the plunge and go on this truly odd odyssey. Yes, Teenage Odyssey. Go to store.canonotter.com. Pick up a copy. It's amazing. You won't regret it because Chuck wrote it.
I did.
Awesome. Chuck, you got anything else you want to talk about? DOK or anything?
Yeah, Wednesday we're playing Savage Rifts. Friday we're continuing our Cyberpunk meets It's Always Sunny hybrid. And then that's it for the week. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. And this isn't a Salvage Union week for you, Joe?
No.
It's next week. Okay. Right.
Yep.
All right. My Trey, what do you do on the internet and where can we find you?
I am to play games on YouTube where I make system agnostic or multi-system tips of content that suggests the human playing experience that you should check out if you want to check that kind of thing out.
Awesome. And then other things, so really quickly, Huckleberry, our dear friend Steven, has been making a game, cinematic action Western horror, huckleberryrpg.com, or you can look for it up on Drive-Thru RPG. Just recently, in the past week or two, released a new adventure. There's 3 total out now, and there's a big update coming later in March with all sorts of goodies to help you run it. So take a look at that. As for streaming, tomorrow night we should be back to Perils and Princesses, which is our kind of OSR sort of game. We're all playing princesses, and we're hanging out with the pixies right now. Thursday, we're doing some Swords of the Serpentine, where Jeremy has introduced a character called Pisspot Randy, and I think he's very quickly becoming the main character of that campaign. I think we're going to follow the arc. He's going to be the one who told the story of your family, and that's like the last scene. We just see him kind of like. Actually, it's not typing. He's writing out with a quill the story of not a Gargus. The story
It's
of
just a bunch of X's, unfortunately.
he's just making pictures. Yeah. Friday this week, I think we got a Dragonbane week with Aaron and the GM seat, and then Saturday we're going to be continuing our Han cluster game. We've been playing for the past couple of weeks. We got another adventure we're going to start, so you can kind of check out what we're doing with that Savage Worlds game. So that's it for us. Let's go ahead and raid Fabled 42. So follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.